Hello, dear community, and welcome to our live stream. We are at RBI Innovation Garden. Really cool project running since the end of August here in We Accelerate. And with us is Nicole Streu, the head of innovation management of RBI. Nicole, welcome to our live stream.
Hi. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. You will be explaining us a lot about the Innovation Garden, about this entrepreneurship program of RBI, but also about the overall innovation strategy. RBI is doing a lot of things. You have a venture arm, you have FinTech Accelerator, but you have also a lot of entrepreneurial programs within your group and an overall innovation strategy. Very, let's say, I find offensive one in terms of not offensive. Sorry, this is German English. I mean offensive in German, which is so to say, I don't know how to say, very positive. Let's say in English language. in terms of really developing projects and products within your structure. So let's pitch first the Innovation Garden. What is it all about? What do you do here?
Yeah, well, actually, Innovation Garden is I would say, pretty classical entrepreneurship program. So first phase was collecting ideas from our employees. So we actually opened up, had a few topics. We were asking. That was actually in the beginning of the year in spring. We asked like, what do you think? Do you have ideas on how to change our internal processes, but also our products for the customers? So we opened up. We wanted to have people really bring in their spirit and what they think, because they are actually our biggest value in the company. We then selected the best ideas. It was a pretty tough process. Also, we selected the best talent. They applied for the program, and then we actually conducted, and this is where we are now, a 3-month entrepreneurship program where the teams that we put together out of the applications and the topics are now really elaborating and working on those things.
Are these teams within the Innovation Garden working on, let's say, incremental innovation or also disruptive models?
Well, it's I would say it's more a program for incremental innovation because, of course, there might be the one or the other that has disruptive potential, but I would say it's more incremental. Also, I would say half of the teams are focusing more on processes, so internal innovation, really like how can we make our life better within the company, and half of the teams are working on topics that are focusing really on the customer.
This is obviously extremely interesting. We also like to compare different corporate programs between each other and also to learn from each other. How did you go about this program? Is it, let's say, a high potential kind of program? How did you recruit the people?
Yeah, well, as I said, we had this platform where we collected ideas. We also asked, please apply if you want to be part of it. It was not given that the idea giver is already part of the program. So we had about like 250 people applying for the program, which is pretty good. I have to mention we had 765 ideas. That was also pretty good. Did not expect so many. And actually, out of those 250, we invited the 100 that we actually, where we saw that they would have potential regarding their CV, to an innovation jam in summer, and that was a 2 days event where they worked actually on 20 topics that also have been selected.
Like an assessment center?
It was, well, I wouldn't say it's but for of course for the people it was a little bit like that, because after that we selected 40 of them to really become then part of the 3-month program. So was a tough thing.
Cool. What we see in many cases, obviously, when talking about success of such programs, is whether, let's say, the board is behind it, whether the people selected actually get the time that they can spend on these projects. So how was the structure behind it?
Well, that's a very good question. I mean, we was also something we have really put a lot of thought in how we will manage that. So we asked, we made it very clear that in the 3 months, the people would have to spend at least 70% of their time dedicated to the program. We aligned with our board, and especially with our CEO, who was extremely in favor and pushed this program a lot. And we really managed to get them free. But of course, their line managers have been supporting supportive to some extent, but I think if Johann Strobl, our CE, wouldn't have really sent an email to each and every one of those line managers, it would not have personally. Yes, he sent an email saying, "Hey, your employee got selected. Please make sure that he is able to join." And also we partnered up with, because it's a very international program. There are half of the participants are out of our subsidiaries, our network banks, and also Johann Strobl asked actually the CEO of this network bank to actually help him to get these people free. So it was very much also personally supported by him, by the whole board, of course. So, but that was one of the crucial things.
What are the expectations, let's say very concretely? Do you want products, do you want projects, or do you want, let's say, ideas that evolve then in the further procedure after the garden?
Well, it's very much output driven. So what we expect, and also what the teams right now feel, is that we really want to have to deliver something. So it's about outcome, but of course what goes along with the program and like the way we set it up is that a lot of people they learn a lot here. So they get in touch with methodologies they have not known before. They work in a completely different environment. So it's also, I think it's on various levels for the participants a pretty a big opportunity to develop, because as I said, like methodology is taught. They work on a topic that is probably not even in their normal business area, so a completely new thing. So this is on the content level where they really evolve. Personally, this how we design it, it's also a big challenge. You are put together with completely strangers on a table, and you basically live here together with them for 3 months. So it's emotionally a huge thing.
Is this actually one of the purposes as well, to connect different know-how from the group? I participated RBI blockchain days a few days ago, and I was totally excited what your Russian colleagues, for example, are doing in this space.
Yes.
And is also, so to say, the purpose of such programs to bring different, let's say, cultures together to learn from each other and to cooperate.
You are exactly right. So the program, I think, has, apart from like creating outcome at the end, various benefits for the group. And one is certainly to connect the people in the group, because you have to imagine RBI is I mean, we have like almost 50,000 employees in 13 different countries. When Russia develops a cool thing, and they do not like talk about it in the media, then most probably our colleagues in Albania will not know it really, because it's just simply not so connected at the moment. And what this program does also is, I mean, they're sitting together here on one table, working together, and they get to know each other better. So it connects them really very much. So it brings the group together a little bit more, and they know, oh, I have been working with a colleague from Russia in this program for 3 months. Of course, I can just call him. There's no need to make a fuss. So it's really cool. And also what I said, I mean, like working together on a topic, they have ups and downs. This is really, they fight a lot. If you are put in such a state, then you really connect.
You really bond.
You bond.
We spoke to Jochen Strobl, your CEO, in other contexts of your FinTech Accelerator, and he said that the FinTech Accelerator, among many other goals, also has a goal to like get some dynamic in terms of cultural change in the mindset. Is that one of the purposes of this program as well?
Yeah, of course. I mean, whatever we do also with innovation, it's not a explicit goal, I would say, but it's something that just comes with it. I mean, just imagine I'm talking about this innovation jam that we had in summer, where we selected actually the participants for this program, and also selected the ideas that now are being elaborated. That was a big event. We invited 100 people from the whole group to this to work 2 days in a actually quite cool location, and this was, and we invited, of course, our colleagues from the network banks. So it was a few hundred people there. So it was something that was eye-opening, because what also was interesting for our board, those people got actually put together in like 20 teams, because we had 20 out of the 765, we had 20 ideas or topics in the Innovation Jam, and these 100 people. So they have actually been randomly put together, and they had 2 days to go through a little bit of a design thinking process, to elaborate on it, and the evening of the second day they went on stage for a huge audience. Basically the whole board. Also at that moment we had our CEO meeting in Vienna, so all the CEOs from our network banks were there. So it was like the top management of the organization, and they went on stage and they pitched their idea, and it felt like it's a startup pitching there, and they just had 2 days to prepare. And I think that was an amazing thing, because all of a sudden our board saw that we have people in the group that are able to really actually work like a startup and pitch like a startup. So there was no difference anymore, and that gave them a big push in that direction. And was also interesting, maybe a tiny little story that we had. We had also the opportunity for all our colleagues was there to actually be there on this event. So we had one person. I think she had an idea. She brought it there, and she made it to the Innovation Jam, and she said, and then she went on stage and pitched, and she said, "Oh, not even the boss of my boss has ever talked to the CEO in my in my organization." And she was standing there, and like that was really
you
great.
You guys are shaping the future of your bank.
Yeah,
that's very
it's
good.
Great.
One other aspect, you have your venture arm, 50 million euros for investments in fintechs. You have the Elevator Lab, the accelerator program for fintechs. You have Innovation Garden and other initiatives. Do they talk to each other? Do they interact with each other? Do you have some, so to say, synergetic effects among these programs?
Well, definitely. Maybe to start at the beginning, we do not do things randomly. So we had actually last year we invested a lot of time in a so-called innovation strategy. So we really sat down and thought, okay, where do we want to go actually, and what innovation vehicles, we call them, would make sense in order to get things going. So all those three you just mentioned are actually part of those strategies. So that was elaborated. So it's pretty clear what we want to do, and yes, they talk to each other. So there's this, I would say, roof of this innovation strategy around all of them,
like a sounding board, something like that.
That's also in this innovation strategy we decided to set up an innovation board that is basically responsible for all the vehicles. It's consisting out of our RBI board, which is actually seven people, so it's pretty big. And we have also our network banks invited, so we have there 4 CEOs from our basically the biggest banks there, and they come together at least quarterly, all of them, but also then in during the programs a subset of them, to really listen to the teams pitch in front of them. They take a little bit, I would say, they take care that this is working, and that's amazing. That also creates a sense of commitment from those guys. So that is very important. That was very important. And now I lost the
No, you answered it anyway. You answered it anyway. I would maybe follow up with a question in terms of the innovation seems to be like a CEO agenda, so to say, on the highest level. On the other hand, RBI is a very traditional bank, and how easy or difficult is it to develop these programs within the group?
Well, looking at RBI, basically I joined just 1.5 years ago, so it's not for a long time. And like looking at RBI from outside, you would say very traditional, very conservative, big company. When I came here, I think it's actually also started because there have been a lot of changes also in top management, and I think that there was kind of everything woke up. So it feels like really there's a huge a huge push into the direction of trying to be more adaptive to the outside world, trying to be innovative. And I think that that the whole group realizes that this is actually a sense of something that you have to do. You have to survive, and that's actually the essence of innovation, is to be prepared for the future and to survive in a very different environment. And that's what I think everyone got. And that's really amazing. So, in terms of difficult, it could be difficult, but we have the backing of the CEO, and that's I cannot emphasize this more, and also of course all the board as well. So this is the tremendous success factor for us. Otherwise, they take it serious. It's really, you can feel that this is not a joke. This is really, they mean it.
Where will this process take you in the future? I mean, you seem to have clear strategy, clear roadmap, internal innovation, external innovation, cooperation with startup, venture, so to say, business that you're doing. What's next to come? What is the future of the bank going to look like in 5 years?
Well, that's I don't know. I really cannot tell you. I think that we will be able to hopefully take a leading position in terms of digital products in our region. We also already have actually a lot to show. So thinking about Tatra Banka in Slovakia, which is the most innovative bank in the CE region already. So there is already a lot, and this is maybe also something I would like to say. RBI is actually a pretty entrepreneurial organization. So thinking about like how RBI grew, how back then Herbert Stepic went to the one and the other country to like start banking bringing Western banking to Eastern Europe. And that was like a startup back then, and it's not so long ago. So there are a lot of people remembering this.
Still the dynamic of
the dynamic and the feeling, and when they come here, they say, oh my God, it feels a little bit like back then, and that is actually that's really it brings back this sense of entrepreneurship again, which out of banking crisis and other reasons maybe was a little bit lost.
In this meaning, will there be follow-up programs like that?
Yeah.
2 batches took place now. Do you plan something for next year?
Yes, definitely. So Innovation Garden will definitely be next year. We will change a little bit and we will grow. So we have a lot of interest also from our local banks to do tiny little innovation gardens also in the countries, because they also see that this is also cultural-wise needed for them, and they want to collect ideas. They want to start also engaging with their employees more for this topic. So we will set up little programs in the network banks. We also did this with Elevator Lab for instance, and it was a big success, because it was something that was, I think, also unexpected there, and it was perceived brilliantly.
It seems like a very smart process to go about. You kick off things like Elevator Lab, the holding does it, the group, and in the next year I think 7 or 8 banks did challenges for Elevator Lab. And so something like this you want to plan with Innovation Garden next year as well?
Yes, definitely. So I think that also our role in head office will change. We will more support our network banks internationally also, of course, to set this up, and that but it still actually follows then the same mindset, the same strategy. We try also, of course, we have high quality standards when it comes to the processes, so we make sure that this is kept, and and it's really, I would say, it's really amazing. So makes me go to work every day very happy, because I can move things forward.
Oh, perfect! That's the perfect closing of this interview. I'm also very excited to see what will come out. Many projects and content here is confidential, so we're not allowed to talk about it. But maybe we will have some digital products in the coming years that will come from such initiatives. I'm very excited to report about it then when it's official, when it's launched. And thank you, Nicole, for these insights. Super. I think it's really, really awesome program. We spoke to a few people here. They're all very excited. Also for them, this environment is something completely new and enriches, so to say, your job at RBI. In this meaning, all the best for the future, and we keep in touch.
Thank you. Great.
And thank you for being with us. I think this was a very, very interesting talk. We're trying to also see what the corporates are doing, traditional partners are doing, traditional banks are doing, how they try to innovate to drive their companies in the future. And this was a very, very good example of one possibility how to do it with many, many fields. As we said, Elevator Lab, you have Venture Arm, you have the Innovation Garden, you have further initiatives. Top priority for the CEO. This is what we learn is very, very important to have complete backing, and you have all the assets that you need. We're excited what will come out. Thank you, Nicole, and thank you for being with us. Ciao.
Thank you.